In this video, we are going to go over 10 mistakes new pilots make with their brand new drones, how you can avoid this, and how you can prevent your drone from crashing within minutes of owning it. Let's get into the video. So it's that time of year where you might be buying yourself a drone, treating yourself over the Black Friday sales, or you could be getting one of these drones for Christmas. Now, a lot of people are making the same mistakes time and time again. They're crashing their drones are flying away, and that's the end of it. You want these drones to last a number of years. These are expensive tech, and you can easily go wrong with this within minutes of taking off, and that's just going to knock your confidence altogether. So if you're buying this for somebody and you don't want their drone to crash, send them this video. And if you're buying this drone for yourself, make sure you watch to the end, because some of these mistakes, they can happen to the best of us, including me pretty recently. Let's get into that first one. So all these latest drones have obstacle avoidance, a really good feature. So basically it's got sensors on the drone. This is the Mini 5 Pro, has sensors, the Air 3S, the Mini 4 Pro, the Mavic 4 Pro, the anti-gravity A1. All these drones now, the recent drones, have at least obstacle avoidance sensors, and some of them also have an addition of a LiDAR sensor. But you need to make sure that these are actually turned on. You see, by default out of the factory settings, you might find that they are turned off in the settings. So you think, oh yeah, that guy told me that I've got obstacle avoidance, this drone is pretty much impossible to crash. And then you crash your drone into a tree within seconds of having it. And it's dead easy to make sure you've got this setting turned on. So turn your drone on, your controller, go into settings, and on the very first page, under safety settings, you'll see obstacle avoidance. You have bypass, brake, and off. If it's off, turn it on to bypass. This means that when the drone is flying, if it detects an object like an obstacle or a person, a building, it will go around them. If you set it to brake, it will stop before it gets to that obstacle. But there is times where you want your drone to have obstacle avoidance turned off. This could be if you're flying really low to the ground and you don't want the drone to be swerving at all. You could be flying through a tight gap. Make sure the next time you go and fly, you get into that habit of checking that your sensors are turned back on. And the tracking system has got so much better in the last few years. This drone can track you from various different angles. It can circle round you. And because it has those obstacle avoidance sensors, it can also detect objects from the side. But that said, it's not perfect. Its Achilles heel, all of these drones, is twigs and power lines. So when the drone is tracking you, or you're just flying this, don't have too much trust into it thinking the drone's not going to crash. It's got sensors on it. It's got really good tracking. Things can go wrong. So if I'm doing a quick shot like a helix or a circle, before I even set off to do that move, I'll make sure that area looks pretty clear. And if it's not, I'll have my hand over what's called the pause button. So on the front of the controller, you have this button here. That's your pause and return to home. So if you find that your drone is getting really close to, say, a twig or a power line or some sort of tree, and it's getting a bit too close to that, rather than just wait for it to crash into it, hitting that pause button will make that drone come to a sudden stop and prevent that crash. Unfortunately, I've come really close to power lines. Touch wood, I've never actually hit a power line, but when I've looked back at the footage going, oh my, that has got really close to it. So as good as the tracking and the obstacle avoidance is on this drone, don't think it's completely uncrashable. Just have your thumb hovering over that pause button, just in case you see something and you don't want to risk it, hitting that pause button to prevent any crashes. Now, aside from branches, power lines, one other thing you really need to be aware of is seagulls. Now with seagulls, they really do like to try and bully these mini drones. They've never ever once bullied the Mavic drone. The Air 3S tends to be alright, but these mini drones, seagulls can go for them. So if you do find yourself in that situation where you've got seagulls trying to dive bomb at one of these or sniffing around it, the best thing you can do is go into your controller, put it into sports mode, and actually go up in altitude as quick as possible. It's much easier for your drone to actually increase altitude than that seagull. So get to a high altitude and then fly out of that seagull's path. And then my advice would be, is try and get that drone back to you as quick as possible and then just change location. Unfortunately, they are a bit of a pain in the arse and they will continue to try and find that drone. As soon as they hear it or see it, more of them will arrive and they'll all start dive bombing it, and it's just not worth it because eventually that seagull will win. And this video is sponsored by Artlist, a website I use every single day. If you're a video creator, this really is a one-stop shop. Not only do they have thousands of music and sound effects with unlimited downloads, you can see what's currently trending in the charts and it will show you all the similar music that you can use on your videos. And they've also got this huge AI model. So in this video, in the seagull segment, rather than me go out and actually film videos of seagulls, I can simply just type it in. So I go to this box here and I can type in angry seagull flying with a drone in its mouth, and it generates me this image in seconds. Now even better because it has Seadream 4.5, a new model that gives the most realistic photo images. I can click on that same image, click animate, and it will then turn that into a video. Or you can use the AI video, type in that same prompt, angry bird flying with a drone in its mouth, and it will give you something like this for you to choose. And you can get as creative as you want, and the results are really impressive. You can even take your own photo, input it into the AI software, type in a prompt, and it will then generate your photo into a video. This could be a still image of you or somebody that you've taken a picture of, and it will turn that still image into that person moving. It's absolutely crazy. And this is a great time to check it out because they are currently running a holiday sale, so some great discounts to be had. And if you use my link, which is going to be at the top of the description, you're also going to get an extra 2 months free added to your subscription as well. Go and check it out. Now we've all done it and sports mode is super fun.
Get up! Get up! You were this close.
And majority of times I find where there's been drone crashes or someone spoke to me going, I had that drone, but it didn't last long. And it tends to be more towards beginners because they get the drone and a question they ask is, what's the top speed of that drone? How fast can that go?
Get up!
So
Get up!
they'll put it into sports mode
close.
and they'll just press up straight away. It'll go flying away and they love the sound of it. They love how fast it can go and it looks really cool. But they forget about then the braking distance. So as you actually pull back on that stick, the drone's not going to come to a sudden stop. It's going to take a lot longer to stop because of that speed. Also in sports mode, you have no sensors. All the sensors are deactivated. So you've got zero obstacle avoidance. So while sports mode is great, if you're going to be using that just for the thrill of flying this drone fast, make sure there's no like trees in that area, obstacles, people. So you're actually getting the most effect without the risk of crashing this drone. I find sports mode is good at getting to that location fast. So I might increase the altitude pretty high and then I'll hit it into sports mode and get to that location. This could be mountains I want to take photos of or film. And then it's getting there quicker. I might get somewhere else. Right, put it into sports mode, go to this next location, take photos and videos. But once I get to that location, I always then go out of sports mode and put it into cine or normal. For me, I'm not using sports mode all the time, very minimal, probably 5 or 10% out of every single flight. So don't be flying in sports mode all the time and understand the risks when you are doing so. Now, when you first get your drone, you'll unfold these propellers and you'll want to get it in the air as quick as possible. Super excited to get this going. So you'll push down on these sticks and you'll go off flying and you'll get all these cool shots. But the downside to that is that you're just not being patient enough and waiting for GPS lock. And if you don't do this, things can go really bad. So to get GPS lock really fast and easy to do, turn your drone on, turn your controller on. It does need to be outside so it can get some sort of satellite connectivity. And within like 10 to 20 seconds, you will hear this announcement saying home point updated. And if you don't have that GPS lock, you're not going to be able to hover the same because you're going to be flying in what's called ATI mode. So it's not going to be as stable. So for beginners, if it's your first drone, it's going to be flying really weird. So wait 10 to 20 seconds before you set off flying that drone. Now, a great feature we have on the Mini 5 Pro and the Mavic 4 Pro, unfortunately not on the Air 3S or the Mini 4 Pro, is dynamic home point. And this is really important if you're going to be moving location. You might be driving your car, you could be on a boat, especially if you're on a boat, or if you're cycling your bike, and not activating dynamic home points before you set off. So what you need to do on the Mini 5 Pro, fantastic feature, So get it all set up so it's going to start tracking you. And then if you click on the left hand side where you've got that little H icon, and you can click on update home point. Once you've clicked on that, you'll see dynamic home point. If we click on that, and then that will update constantly to the controller's location. And this works whether you have the RC2 controller or if you have the RC Pro 2 controller. And this is a brilliant feature that you should be using. So say you start off from point A, and then you ride your bike all the way 5 miles down here to point B. If you don't set and update that dynamic home point, the drone will think that your home point is still here and you're still stood here. It won't be like, oh yeah, I know, they're all the way over here. It won't have a clue. So if you have a disconnect, the drone's going to come all the way back to point A. This could be miles away. And just imagine you're on like a speedboat or something over a lake. That drone's going to come back to you. You might not be able to control that drone because it's disconnected, and it's going to just land into that water. So by enabling dynamic home point, it's constantly updating to your controller's location. So this is something I did recently, and I like to live life on the edge a bit with these drones, and this one was super lucky, and I've got a different video coming on this explaining more, and this will help you out. But this is actually flying beyond the low battery message warning. So when you're flying your drone, normally, depending on how far away that drone is, you're going to get a message on screen. It could be when you've got like 30% battery, 40% battery, could be 50% battery if you're quite far out. And this will say low battery, return to home. And you have an option to cancel that, or you can click return to home and the drone will just come back to you. Now, if you click cancel, you're not going to get another warning. The drone's like, right, on your own then, you risk it. And I like to do this because most of the time I get my drone back and it's like, what, 3 to 5% of battery life left. I'm not saying that's a good thing, but I like to get as many shots as I can in that one battery. But the trouble is when you actually go beyond that message, the drone is calculating how long it's going to take to get that drone back to you safely, but it's not calculating for any wind changes, so things can go wrong fast. And it did for me. My drone didn't make it back to me. I had to go and recover it. And this is the issue. So especially if you've just got your first drone and you're flying the drone, say the first 10, 20 times, as soon as that message comes on saying low battery, return to home, click yes, get that drone back to you. Don't risk it, because otherwise you're going to be on a recovery mission trying to find this drone. And most of the time, the drone doesn't make it. Now with these mini drones especially, the wind can play havoc on them. So get into the habit of, before you go off and fly, you check the weather conditions. So if you have an iPhone, simply you could just bring up the weather app and you could look in the location, and although it might tell you the current temperature, what you want to do is actually click on the icon and look at the wind conditions. So now I can see how strong the winds are and how strong the gusts are in my current location. But also you've got the UAV forecast app. Now this used to be free, it's now, I think it's about £10, $10 for the year. So granted it's not free anymore, but it's still valuable. I'm using it all the time. They're obviously not sponsoring this video, but it's just an app I've been using for years. And that will tell you your current conditions where you are, but it will also tell you the wind direction. And this is really important with these drones. So when you set off, you want to be flying ideally into the wind. Now I know this is not always achievable depending on what shots you want to get in that location, but say you're flying into the wind. When you're bringing that drone back to you, you've got the wind on its side now pushing that drone back as well. You've got this tailwind. If you're fighting the wind trying to get back to you and you've now got a headwind and you've got low battery, this is where problems go wrong, and what my previous point was about going beyond that low battery message. Because say you've only got like 20% battery left and it's coming back to you, but you're fighting a 20-mile-an-hour headwind, it's going to be struggling even more to get back. So I can just turn and look and go, right, the wind direction now is going to be blowing against me. So I'm going to set the drone off and go towards the wind, so it's fighting that wind on the way out. So then on the way back, it's going to have all the wind behind it as a tailwind. Now, depending on where you are, there's going to be different areas of actually taking off and landing. And you might find that you take this drone off and within 10 seconds, you've got error messages on your controller and your drone is knackered. So what you want to do is when you're taking your drone off, find a smooth level surface, ideally not wet or damp, and certainly not on sand. So if you take your drone off on sand, as soon as these propellers start spinning, the sand is going to blow inside of this aircraft. It could actually get into the motors it could mess this up within 10 seconds and your drone can't fly. So never take this drone off on sand or land on sand. Now, if it's wet, try and find somewhere else, but ideally get into the habit, once you've actually got a bit more confidence with this, on taking the drone off on your palm, so you can actually land it and you can take it off on your palm really easily. These propellers are not going to hit you. Just have your arms stretched out and then you can hit the takeoff button and the aircraft will just take off from your palm. Same with landing. It will land straight onto here. So that's the most preferred way of taking your drone off. And the last one, again with beginners, is how far does that drone go, mate? What's the range on that? And this is one of the main reasons why these drones crash, because you're flying the drone far too far out. You might be saying to your mates, look, I've got this new Mini 5 Pro. It can fly, what, to another town down here. So let's go and test it. And you do that, and not only are you breaking laws, you're also massively running that risk of the drone not making it back to you. Wind conditions can change all the time, so when you set off, it might be fine, but then when you're in the air, the drone is actually struggling because these wind conditions have changed, and it's really struggling to get back to you. That battery life is going down rapid, and eventually the drone is going to get to a battery percentage of around 10%, and then from then on, the drone's like, we're going into a forced landing, and the drone will then constantly want to try and do a forced landing and just land wherever it is. Now you can take some sort of minimal effort to stop that, because you can just keep pushing up on this left stick to try and keep some altitude, and you can position that drone and move it a little bit. But if you take your finger off this left stick, the drone's going to keep descending. So my advice is find that location, plan it, look at where you want to film, and then take your drone off and get all the shots, photos, videos in the area that you're in. Don't be thinking, right, I'm going to get this drone, I'm going to fly it all the way down there, 10 miles away to another town, and let's hope it gets back. It's a recipe for disaster. So I hope you found that helpful, guys. These are so much fun. So follow those tips and you won't crash your drone, especially when you first get it. Now, if you do want some more information and knowledge on your drone, don't forget I've got my own cheat sheets. These go through all the settings for these drones, how to get the most out of them. But there's also a fail-safe on the very back to go through some of the points that I've mentioned in this video. So you can take these with you, you can keep it in your drone bag all the time. And these are available for the Mini 5 Pro, the Mini 4 Pro, the DJI Air 3S, and I have them in a book format like this that you can get shipped out to you, and also a digital format that you could have and keep it on your phone or your iPad. So you've got all this knowledge with you all the time. So thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, hit that like button, subscribe, because there's still more videos coming really soon, and I'll see you on the next one. By the way, no drones were really that harmed in the making of this video. No, I've not just wrecked a Mini 5 Pro for the sake of this video. A lot of it was like suggested mud in certain areas and leaves and twigs, but I hope you enjoyed it.